pull the slideshow up. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to Philly for Real TV. We're live here on YouTube. Please make sure you log on to Philly, the number 4 realtv.com and check out our television network. We have our own network. It is Black and African owned. Um, it is available through website Philly, the number 4 realtv.com. It is available for download on Roku as well. We are still looking for content. We have advertisement slots. We have free slots for information only content. We have trial slots if you just want to post your content on the network and not generate any cash, but see how the network works. And then we have, again, like I said, we have paid advertisement packages. We are recruiting and looking for creators. This is a work from home work opportunity. We're looking for broadcasters, newscasters. We're looking for people that have their own shows, contents. You got a short story, you have a short film, you've been looking to get it out. Philly for Real TV is accessible by everyone across the globe that has a phone and have access to technology, and that is everyone. So today we are. I'm always wearing multiple hats. I'm the CEO of Philly for Real TV, the network, and I'm also the CEO of Life Outside the Streets, nonprofit here in Philadelphia, where our mission is to treat trauma through arts, education, and information using brain health. Today I am sharing our Security for Philly training, volume one. This is ground zero when we go into communities, going to schools, going to families, how this is the soil, the foundation of establishing self-security, family security, and security for Philly. So let's get into the lesson. For you guys that's tuning in online and watching the YouTube, this is a ebook training manual produced by Life Outside the Streets, written by myself, Jan Hakeem McKay. All right, let's get into it. Security for Philly Training Manual, Volume 1. Self-security, behavioral health, conflict resolution, and effective communication training. We believe we can not only tell people to be safe, we must train them to be safe. Section 1, self-security. So the number one message to remember is my brain is the most powerful weapon on earth, not guns. Within this, this is a 3-part training or course. 101, our mastermind leadership security for Philly training includes this section 101, self-security, trauma 101, and conflict resolution. 102 includes first aid, mental health, first aid and mental health first aid, suicide prevention, and crisis management. And 103 includes customer service, credit repair, wealth building, and some personal security training, life skills, and things of that nature. Again, we cannot tell people to be safe. We must train them. We believe education is the best prevention tool. Education is the best prevention tool. Remember that. So principles, Life Outside the Streets, principles of security and process. Number 1, we believe and understand God is ultimately in control of our protection. Number 2, we believe communication is key to establishing security. Number 3, we prioritize medical support above physical restraint. So what does that mean? Most of the time when there's a conflict or something needs to be resolved, there's actually a mental or medical condition that needs to be treated. Right now, security treats everyone like a murderer, everyone like a criminal. First thing they want to do is put their hands on you, you understand, and get aggressive and bring violence. They will, whether they're speaking to you violently, giving you violent body language, whether it's police or security. I think this was this third principle is one of our niche principles when it comes to security, with prioritizing medical support above physical restraint. However, principle number 4, When restraint or detaining is necessary, do so with care and with peace as the priority. So when we're doing security, our priority is to bring order and bring peace. All too often, as a standard, security guards, whether police, they use force. They're when they're detaining, they are not using any language or any skills that they are taught to keep the peace and make and bring order. They use language that causes more chaos. Principle number 4. Principle number 5: assess the participant's safety plan. So one of the things that comes with our security is when we are providing security, we help you for you, your family, or your community. We develop a self-care plan, and our security agents and professionals are equipped with access to your self-care plan because if something does arise, number one, the things that's going to keep you calm and from being triggered are going to be in your self-care plan. And then we want to look at what went wrong so we can revise and assess your self-care plan. That's number 5. And then number 6, we want to refer you to a case manager, whether within our agency or if a lot of people already have case managers. So we want to connect you. So those 6 principles of security under Security for Philly and our banner really separate us from traditional and standard security that's available here. So again, here's our Security for Philly pledge. Self-security starts with humility. Pride comes before destruction. Most conflicts are founded in miscommunication and misinformation. Therefore, my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me in accomplishing my goal and our goal of keeping myself safe and our family safe. My brain is the most powerful weapon on earth. Now let's help Philly. Good morning, young king. Yeah, so say security first. Security first. All right, I'm training right now. Go ahead, go eat. So, the security of most of this Security for Philly training, we want to unpack majority of the terms that are in the Security for Philly pledge. Again, if you guys, I see you guys are logging on Instagram. If you want to catch me live and see the actual slideshow, we are live on YouTube at under Philly for Real TV. But back to the training. So self-security starts with humility. So let's define the word humility. Humility stands for the quality or state of thinking the quality or state of not thinking you are better than other people. The quality or state of being humble. Freedom from pride or arrogance. The quality or state of being humble. So the word humility, self-security starts with humility. Most of the time, like I said, when there's a conflict, someone is having a medical or mental breakdown or is triggered or is in crisis, right? So the people that, most of the time when conflict arises, there's a person in crisis that, however they're handling or mishandling their crisis, impacts another individual. So now, if I'm gonna use a classroom, for example, you in class, a student comes in, they already dealing with something, they bump you. You understand, or they throw something, they do something. So they're in crisis. So now they have let their lack of managing their emotional intelligence spill into someone else's space. So now this person has a choice to remain humble, and that's not about. So most people say, well, that's disrespectful. Humility recognizes that they're going through something. I didn't do nothing to this person, so I can be humble and do what I need to do, remove myself. If I'm in class, get the teacher, use whatever resources are there, or I can make their problem my problem now, right? They're going in crisis. They bump me, they disrespect me. Who are you? Now I'm making their problem my problem. Or I can be humble and prevent this issue from escalating. So self-security starts with humility. This is especially when you are not wrong and a person is in the wrong. And what I mean by that is when a person is in the wrong and they're targeting you, they are looking for you to give them what they need to elevate in rage. Don't give that to them. Don't let people hit you with your own energy. You understand? It's better to stay humble. You know you can crack them upside the head. You can defend yourself. Whatever you know you can do. It's better to stay humble, remain safe, and deal with it in a way that you don't have to put yourself or your family at risk. All right. So the word humility means the quality or state of not thinking you're a better person. How does that relate to a person that is being disrespectful, violating you, and you didn't do nothing wrong? Well, humility says, I've had a day like that. I've had a day where, I've taken it out on somebody else. So maybe, or it looks like that's what this person is dealing with today. So humility says, whatever a person is going through, I have or could be or know someone personal that matters to me, mother, father, son, daughter, that has also been through this. And so let me help by getting out the way, by not escalating, or, but by staying humble. So self security starts with humility. Pride comes before destruction. So the next term that we're going to define is the word pride. So this word has two definitions. You understand? But we're going to read both of them. Number one, pride, a feeling that you respect yourself and deserve to be respected by others. That's like when you take pride in what you do. It's good pride, positive pride, or a feeling of happiness that you get when you or someone you know does something good, difficult, or challenging. And then there's the other pride, a feeling that you're more important or better than other people. That's the pride we don't want. So it's okay to take pride in what you do, but when you have so much pride that you cannot, that you think you're better than other people, when you have too much pride to be humble, right? And like I told you, self security starts with humility. When you have too much pride, you're not going to have the ability to be humble, because in order to be humble, you cannot buy into pride. You have to reject pride that gets in the way. I asked a group of youth, young people one day, teaching this the Security for Philly pledge, and I asked them. I said, "Give me an example of when pride, because it says pride comes before destruction. When pride came before destruction." And they would give countless examples. Like, for example, my mom asked me to turn in my phone, and instead of giving me my phone, I snapped out, and I went from not having my phone for a week to not having it for a month. You understand? And the other definition they gave me was for humility. I asked them to give, in your own words, define humility. The way that they defined it was the best definition I ever heard. Doing the right thing in a tough situation. Doing the right thing in a tough situation. You understand? That's humility. So yes, pride comes before destruction. When you think that you're better than the person, and I'm telling, I want to keep it on the frame of when a person is out of pocket with you, they're in the wrong. If you let your pride get the best of you and you got to prove to them that they are not, in that instance, oftentimes what is the destruction? Now you have an assault case. Now you have to repent. Now you have to do X, Y, and Z, when you could have removed yourself, left them living in that sin, left them being the aggressor, kept yourself safe. So pride comes before destruction. What type of pride? The pride of feeling that you're more important, or that you have to prove yourself to somebody. Arrogance. So this word isn't in the Security for Philly pledge, but I would say is a synonym. Is similar to pride. It also fuels destruction. So the definition of arrogant is having or showing an insulting attitude of people who believe that they are better, smarter, or more important than other people. Arrogant, exaggerating or disposed to exaggerating one's own worth or importance, often by overbearing manner. So arrogant, showing an offensive attitude of superiority. There is I say arrogance has been accepted. I'm teaching right now, young king. Arrogant, go in the kitchen with mommy, go eat, go get something to eat. Arrogance has become a norm. You understand? Arrogance has become something that is celebrated because celebrities are arrogant. So, because celebrities Celebrities are arrogant. You understand? Celebrities are arrogant, and because they're celebrity and they have their fans, arrogance has become something that is accepted on a level that it needs to be rejected. So whether you're a celebrity, a teacher, you have money, arrogance is never a good thing. It is, I would say, is definitely in the same family of pride and is not of good character. So again, arrogance is showing an offensive attitude of superiority or thinking that your money, your fame, or anything gives you an excuse to think low or of anybody. Miscommunication. What's the definition of that? The definition of miscommunication is failure to communicate clearly. I want you guys to know that when we're talking, we don't get to dictate if it's clear or not. The person that you're talking to and verifying and understanding is what is the indicator of if your communication is clear. If you're talking to a person and they do not understand, then it is not clear. It doesn't matter how many times you slow the words down or say it this way, it's not clear. And maybe you may not be able to communicate with that person, right? Maybe you may not have the right words. You might not have the right patience. You might not have something, and that is okay. All too often, we might think we need to force our communication on the person. No, if a person does not understand what you're saying in a calm manner, then it's okay to say, well, you know what? Maybe I cannot get you to understand. I'm going to exit this conversation. I'm going to leave it to rest. But miscommunication is failure to communicate clearly. Too many people, from parents to officers to teachers to anybody in authority, think their position of authority indicates that they communicate clearly. That couldn't be further from the truth. The evidence that you're communicating clearly is that the person understands and repeats back to you what you said, and they are responding in a healthy way to what you're saying. That's the evidence of communication. So the definition of miscommunication is failure to communicate clearly. Again, if you're on Instagram, you want to see the presentation, I'm on live on YouTube right now under Philly For Real TV. Priority. We're breaking down the key terms in the Security for Philly Pledge. Priority. What is the definition of priority? Something that is more important than other things and that needs to be done or dealt with first. The thing that someone cares about and thinks are important. And lastly, something given or meriting attention before competing alternatives. So again, the self-security pledge is self-security starts with humility. Pride comes before destruction. That's also a biblical proverb. Most conflicts are founded in miscommunication. We just went over that, in misinformation. Therefore, my priority, that's the word we're on right now, is to always establish effective communication. So the definition of priority is something that is more important than other things. The priority of establishing effective communication to keep myself safe and my family safe supersedes everything. My safety. I don't get to do anything. I don't get to come back. I don't get to see my family. I don't get to live life forward if I don't prioritize my safety. I don't get to secure the things that I want to do outside of this conflict when I don't prioritize my safety and my family safety. So I believe this was the as I reflected in structuring this pledge. This was the for me. This was that hook, that transformative piece that will actually lead to a person making the right decision. It says my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me and my goal of keeping myself safe and my family safe. See, many of us have been misinstructed that violence, whether it be verbal or physical, and even material things, is the way to correct something. No, or protect your family. The way you protect your family is by keeping their safety as a priority. That's the way you protect your family. You're not protecting them by meeting violence with violence. You're not protecting them by matching that same energy. You're putting your family at risk. So when you understand that keeping your family safe, keeping your family safe is the top priority. See, sometimes and in most cases where conflict escalates, keeping themselves and their family safe is not the top priority. Pride, proving that you can't do this to me, has become the top priority. Proving whatever is being the conflict is around becomes the priority. But we have to remember that safety is always our priority. Always. Yeah, yeah. Always our priority. You understand? So the definition of priority is something that is given merit or attention before competing alternatives. What's up with them pancakes in there? What's up with them pancakes? It's only you say what? Oh, all right, that's left. Syrup upstairs. Commercial break, trying to get something to eat. You hear me? Shout out to YouTube. Yeah. All right. Priority. Got it. Keeping our family safe is the top priority, and I believe that's the anchor, the buy-in to the Security for Philly pledge. Because I believe deep down inside, above all conflicts, no matter who you are, whoever or whatever you value as family, and your own safety is valuable. And we just been misinformed on how to keep that safety and Security for Philly, Life Outside the Streets. Philly for Real TV is here to help move us forward and restore order. So the next word that we're going to define is goal and SMART goals. Because remember, my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me in accomplishing my goal and our goal of keeping myself safe and our family safe. So what is the definition of a goal? A goal is an idea of the future or desired result that a person or a group of people envision, plan, and commit to achieve. We all have goals, and all goals are to be respected. But the first person that got to respect it is ourselves. You understand? And again, your goals, your family, your safety, those things that I know we all value are the anchors that are in this, that are intentionally placed in this pledge. This is a pledge to accomplish your goals safely, your goal of keeping your family safe in all of your goals. What is the definition of a SMART goal? SMART goal stands for, it's an acronym. The S stands for specific, the M stands for measurable, the A stands for achievable, the R stands for relevant, and the T stands for timely or time-bound goals. So it's not enough to just have goals. We need our goals to be specific. That's why we created this pledge. Self-security starts with humility. What was the goal of this pledge? To bring security, self-security, you understand, and family security. Because when you bring security to yourself, then you can establish it amongst your family. So you have to be specific. You have to be able to measure it. You understand how many people do I want to reach with this pledge? How many people are impacted? How many people need it? How many people, how many words are in it? Quantify it. You understand? Measurable. You need to measure all your goals all the way around, not just even if you're saving for money. All right, I want to save 10,000. You got to measure how much you want to save daily, how much you want to do this. You got to keep measure as much as you can measure. A, achievable. Is this realistic? Or how do I make sure this is realistic? Not is this realistic? How do I secure, what do I have that makes it possible for me to achieve this goal? Number one, you have technology. Number one, we have God. Number one, we have our neighbor. The Lord tells us to love our neighbor. The world tells us to make groups. And I'm saying that to say, all too often we overlook our neighbor and the things and people that we have right next to us. So everything is achievable. R, is it relevant? Is it reachable? Achievable. Is it relevant? The relevant, is it needed? The relevance, you understand, speaks to the need so that you're not wasting your time. You understand? So is it relevant? And And T, is it timely? You understand? So we measuring, the goal in its full totality, but the T, when it comes to timely and time bound, and what amount of time do I want to accomplish this goal? What amount of time am I giving myself to accomplish this goal, and and to keep myself prioritizing this goal and not falling off track? So understanding what a goal is, we have to understand these words, these terms. What does it mean to be safe? The purpose of this pledge is to bring safety to individuals and to neighborhoods and to families. So, what is the definition of safe? The definition of safe is not able or likely to be hurt or harmed in any way. That's safety, and that's what we're bringing. It's not here yet. Not able or likely to be hurt or harmed in any way. We're not safe until everyone is safe. Not in danger. We're not safe until everyone is safe. Not able or likely to be lost, taken away, or given away. Not involving or likely to involve danger, harm, or loss. That is the definition of safe. And that is why I say no one is safe, but we will be. You understand? We are going to equip every individual, every household. Now that we have a television network, now that we have control of communication with families, we are going to make everyone safe. All glory be to God. What is the definition of police? What does it mean to police something? So the definition of the police is the department of government concerned primarily with maintenance of public order, safety and health, and enforcement of laws, and possessing executive, judicial, and legislative powers. Notice the word safety is not in there. Governing is in there. Well, though it said maintenance of public order, safety, and health, and enforcement of laws. But it does not say to keep us safe, to keep the citizens safe. The police is a security agency structured to maintain government and its laws. That is why, even though we pay them the way that we have allowed it to be defined, they do not respect their employer, which is the citizen. Another definition is the department of government charged with prevention, detention, and prosecution of public nuisances and crimes. Now, I need to sincerely double check and make sure the word prevention is in there, because as of right now, our police agency does not operate from a capacity of prevention, unfortunately. So it will be very surprising. Well, it really wouldn't be surprised if the word was in there, but at least we'll be able to hold them accountable. So I say that because security is the prevention. Security is the security service, the component of security that is preventive. Police respond, and they primarily are here to represent the government, and they treat us as as targets versus neighbors. So it's important for us to understand that, and that when we understand what we have in the police, we understand what we're going to create in security. So the definition of security: the state of being protected or safe from harm. That is what security is. Right now, the city of Philadelphia is not safe. Citizens actually have no security outside of their personal security items, home, systems, guns, but we have no security agencies to protect us. And that is why, Security for Philly is going to be formally launching this year. We needed to get some recruits. We need to get this training together. So if you're interested in being a security ambassador in your neighborhood, in your community, and ultimately a security professional, hit us up, tap in, join our trainings. They will be listed. But yes, the term security is defined as the state of being protected or safe from harm, things done to make people or places safe, freedom from danger, and free from fear or anxiety. I know we're not there right now, but we are on our way there, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know the most important thing. We have control over establishing our security, our state of being protected. We have been misled and misinformed on what that looks like in the route to get there, but now we're here. You're at ground zero. You're at the Security for Philly training, This is the building block. From here, we're just adding resources and then we're establishing an actual agency that is going to put people first and not government first. The definition of effective communication. Let's recap the Security for Philly pledge as we dive into effective communication. Remember, self-security starts with humility. Pride comes before destruction. Most conflicts are founded in miscommunication and misinformation. Therefore, my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me in accomplishing my goal and our goal of keeping myself safe and our family safe. My brain is the most powerful weapon on earth, not guns. The definition of effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas. Look at that. The process of exchanging ideas, not giving, exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. I love that definition. I love that definition so much. And reading definitions is so important. Seriously, you use words, you could be a parrot and not understand. But when you read the definition, that's how you gain understanding. And please know that God defines all words. He says effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data, not just exchanging it, so that the purpose of exchange, see, there's purpose behind effective communication. Communication is podcast, just talking. There's a lot of that going on right now. But effective communication has purpose so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. Come on now. So what are my top 10 effective communication tips from life outside the streets? Number one, be a thinker. Be a thinker. It's 2026. Being a thinker hasn't been a priority. You know, unfortunately, due to rappers, entertainers, and celebrities, some of the most unintelligent people amongst our community, being a thinker and being an entertainer requires for you not to be a thinker. It requires for you to let the industry do what they want with you. And because that is the false facade of their success, because they're not successful. You understand, they are dressed very nice and put together, but they are not successful nor wealthy. They don't have control over their wealth. They're not thinkers. They're not thinkers. Be a thinker. Thinkers are readers, studiers, reflectors. They exchange ideas, thoughts, opinions, and knowledge. You see that? Ideas, thoughts, and opinions. That means a thinker is not going, everything that a thinker has in his mind is not going to be what they agree with. They're going to be open-minded to hear the thoughts and ideas of others. So be a thinker. Number two, be confident. Be confident in what you know. Be confident in what you don't know. Because that's how you find when you disclose what you don't know, if you are amongst or around. And even if you're not amongst or around, the Lord will get you that information when you're honest about what you don't know. So you can be confident in knowing what you do know and be confident and humble in what you don't know. But be confident. Be confident in Christ. Be confident in God and his promises. Because we have plenty in our own life on reasons to doubt. So, don't, have confidence in your success, though. Have confidence in the fact that the Lord did wake you up today and in all the things you did accomplish yesterday, which was getting through yesterday, if that's the only thing you want to count. Number three, be positive. Be positive. Negative things are going to always happen. You understand? They are necessary. They are conditioning tools and components of life. Be positive about it. The Bible teaches, consider it great joy when troubles of any kind come your way. Be positive is a choice. We have control over our mindset. Number four, be an active listener. Be an active listener. What does that look like? Number one, it looks like silence. It looks like not talking. That's the ground zero. Being an active listener looks like not talking, and then the next layer to that is intentionally listening and taking in the information, intentionally taking in the information in your mind, by hand, with notes if you can, typing if you can. But an active listener is listening with the intent to remember. Listening with the intent to remember. So that's going to require some level of note taking. Number 5, be an echo. Be an echo. These are all components of effective communication. Be an echo when a person is talking, not while they're talking, but after they're finished sharing, echo back to what you heard to confirm what you heard. Be an echo. Effective communication. Tip number 5, be an echo. When you're listening, confirm to the person that is sharing that you heard them by being an echo once they pass the mic. Number 6, be a mirror. Body language. Mirror, be a mirror. I'll give a good example. When you're talking to young people, get down low to their level. Be a mirror. Crouch down. If a person is harmed, be a mirror. Absolutely. Appreciate you. Be a mirror. You understand? I'm live on YouTube right now doing Security for Philly training. Tap in. You want to get the slides that I'm showing. Official Security for Philly training that you can tap in and be ready for. Date coming out. Well, we had to get this out to the people. But yeah, be a mirror. Number 7, be yourself. These are 10 tips for effective communication. Be yourself. If you cannot be yourself, remove yourself. You understand? Don't remain in spaces, whether it's family, friends, school. You're not trapped anywhere. You understand? You got to make sure you ask to be removed if you need to. If not, if you need to. If you are not safe, remove yourself. Remove yourself and be honest about that. Don't water it down. Be yourself. Be presentable. Be presentable. I say presentable. When you're presentable, it disarms people as welcoming. It puts people at ease. Remember, the goal about this is effective communication. Number 9, be bold in posture. Again, presentable, bold in posture. Be presentable. And number 10, be goal driven. Be goal driven. You understand? Be goal driven. If you're just talking to talk, that's not effective. When you have an intention, and when you're goal driven, you're going to listen. Because if you hear a person not getting it, you're going to be okay with being quiet. And when the goal is to get them to listen, it's not going to be so hard to be quiet anymore. It's not going to be so hard. Trust me. I like to talk, but I like to be effective more. And that definitely led to me being more quiet. So what does the definition of active listening say? Active listening is a way of listening and responding to another person that improves mutual understanding. Look at that. See, definitions matter. Oh, I'm listening. Active listening, effectively listening, right? What does that look like? When you're listening, it improves mutual understanding. So when you're talking and you're dealing with somebody, if it's not improving the mutual understanding, you are not actively listening. It's not what they're not doing. You only got control over yourself. You got to always remember that. But the beauty of that is, as you can drive another person with your own decisions. So you only have control over yourself, but you can influence and drive another person that you're in a conversation with. And the things that work will supersede the things that don't, because the brain is going to process and use it. But yes, active listening is a way of listening and responding to another person that improves mutual understanding. It is an important first step to diffuse the situation and seek solutions to problems. It is an important first step. You hear that? To diffusing the situation, to diffuse, proper English, the situation and seek solutions to the problems. So Active listening, the definition of active listening is dedicated to conflict resolution. Come on now. You got to love it. You got to love it here, but you got to make sure you have an effective teacher. You cannot be an active listener or effective communicator without empathy, which brings us to our next term, empathy. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Empathetic listening is structured listening in a questioning technique that allows you to develop and enhance relationships with a stronger understanding of what is being conveyed, both intellectually and emotionally. Again, empathetic listening is a structured listening and questioning technique that allows you to develop and enhance relationships with a stronger understanding. Look at that. Empathetic listening allows you to enhance and develop relationships with a stronger understanding of what is being conveyed or communicated, both intellectually and emotionally. Remember, effective communication, be a thinker. Empathy, that's where that emotion is. You hitting that emotion, but you hitting that brain and that heart. It says, as such, it takes active listening techniques to another level. Shout out to Dr. My main man partner, Dr. Williams, got the Stall of Love program, and he teaches empathy, about 5 stages or something like that of empathy. Empathy is essential. It's essential to building healthy, strong relationships. Your brain. What is the definition of brain? Before I do that, we will recap the Security for Philly pledge. It's been a little second. Self-security starts with humility. We've been defining each term. Pride comes before destruction. Most conflicts are founded in miscommunication and misinformation. Therefore, my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me in accomplishing my goal and our goal of keeping myself safe and our family safe. My brain, here we go, we on the brain, is the most powerful weapon on earth, not guns. Now let's hail Philly. The brain, the definition of the brain, or what is the brain? The part of the nervous system that is inside the skull consists of grayish nerve cells and whitish nerve fibers, and is the organ of thought in the central control point for the nervous system. So that's what your brain is. It is the part of the nervous system that is inside the skull, this thing right here. It consists of grayish nerve cells. So your brain is made up of cells, nerve cells, that's important, and whitish nerve fibers, right? Nerve cells and nerve fibers. And is the organ of thought. Your brain is the organ. The only organ that's not looked at when you report that is damaged, but is the organ of thought and central control point for the nervous system. Your brain gives you the ability to think in partnership with God. What's the definition of powerful? Having great power or prestige or influence. So in our presentation, the brain is identified as the most powerful weapon on earth, not guns. You understand? And thank you. Not guns. And I shout out to Girard College. When I founded Life Outside the Streets back in 2015, or incorporated it, our first contract was with Girard College, and that was the first time I used this analogy or think. What's the most powerful weapon? And I showed them a nuke, a big gun, a person, or brain, and something else. Some people pointed out that, but most of them said your brain, because your brain controls these man-made weapons. Your brain gives you the ability to think. Earlier, I told you in the skull, this brain is made up of nerve cells. I said that's important. One of the things Dr. Daniel Amen teaches is that when we smile, there's a positive chemical reaction going off in our cells. And when we frown, there's a negative chemical reaction going off in our body with ourselves. So smiling gives off a positive chemical reaction with your nerve cells in your brain. It is actually a healthy, prescription. It is a healthy medicine. Is a healthy, safe Tylenol to make you feel better. I want to put that because that was mind blowing to me. Of course, the feeling like, oh, I feel better, but to know my cells, to know that I can smile when I'm sad, when I'm hurt, but smiling is actually a dose, a shot of medicine that I have control over. And like I said, when we frown, it is also destructive. That's why depression. That's why it's okay to be sad. It's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay that way because of the negative destruction and damage. What happened?
He ate cream of wheat.
By itself. But it is not okay to stay that way. The baby is covered in cream of wheat and still want to eat it. So yes, your brain is the most powerful weapon on earth. What is the definition of the nervous system? The nervous system controls everything you do. The brain controls the nervous system. It is the central headquarters. Let's get it together. It says the central control point for the nervous system. And your nerve, so the brain is a part of the nervous system. It's the central controlling point. But your nervous system in totality, which is your brain and nerves all throughout your body, hence wiring of homes and all of that, everything we have is modeled after our body. Construction, everything you know, because it's all connected. When God created the world, he created the earth, he created the dirt, he created the water, he created the springs, then he created us from the dirt. The system of his creation is consistent. But yeah, this nervous system really reveals that. I wish you guys on Instagram could see the picture. But yes, the nervous system controls everything you do, including breathing, walking, thinking, and feeling. This system is made up of your brain, spinal cord, and all the nerves of your body. One system. Hence why blood flow and brain activity under a SPECT image gives you the most accurate, gives you an assessment of your brain's function. You understand? So because why? Our overall body and human function is controlled by a nervous system, and blood flows through the nerves. Come on, let's go. So the nerves carry the message. The next point in the slide, in the slide, the nerves carry the messages to and from the body, so the brain can interpret them and take action. So when your nervous system is shot, your communication system is shot. Hence your fight or flight system. Hence why I love the brain and love the body, and why we have to study it more. Hence why they left it out. You notice that they teach you astrology, anatomy, everything, all the sciences except for your actual brain, behavioral health, except for the things. Anatomy is our bone, but it doesn't really go into the function of things, and that's what we've been missing as a lesson. But now we have it. So yes, your nervous system. Weapon. What is the definition of a weapon? Something such as a club, knife, or gun used to injure, defeat, or destroy. A means of contending against another. And so the definition of weapon is something such as a club, knife, or gun used to injure, defeat, or destroy. A means of contending against another. Something that you have to contend or defend yourself. The brain is the most powerful weapon on earth. Your brain is the most valuable thing that you have to protect yourself, to prevent injury, and to also cause injury, right? Because how we think. in just one malicious thought, nations have been and are continuing to be wiped out. So this is not anything we have to wonder about. But that's why our message is to help you understand your brain, heal your brain, and utilize your brain in a positive way. Within that will conclude today's lesson for Security for Philly training and the Security for Philly pledge. Within this, I do have a few YouTubes I recommend: the Science Study and Successful Blueprint to End Violence. This is by my main man Gary Slutkin, Jerry GARYSLUTKIN. Let's treat violence as a contagious disease. So shout out to Cure Violence Philly. That whole science, Gary Slutkin did the research. He's an epidemiologist. He did the research of the foundation of the science that shows that credible messengers and the things in the violence prevention strategy that we had that works. Gary Slutkin did the research. In this TED talk, he's actually given an update on the success of the research, but he tells his backstory of what led to it and him being an epidemiologist and coming back to America and looking at violence as an epidemic. And that's how he came up with the solution. And he had made this YouTube at the time because this was around the time the prison owners and Republicans that lobbied to for the prisons, they defunded the violence prevention programs as they were seeing that they were eliminating violence, and the violence went back up, and now we're, bringing the violence back down with Gary Slutkin's same philosophy. But I've always shared that this is actually a part of the training when you attend in person. So I recommend you watch the Gary Slutkin YouTube that's available on YouTube. I have a couple quotes. Shout out to my little brother, Edward Wells. He came up with this brand and quote ART acronym: always remain thorough. You understand that echoes are effective communication, be yourself. Echoes security for Philly. I think it was effective communication, be positive. Always remain thorough. Our famous favorite quote: it's okay not to be okay, and treat your trauma. I'm not going to get into section 2. Section 2 is how I look after my brain health and mental health. I'm going to get into that into the next video. I'm about to take a break. I'm sweating in here. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. But yes, part 2, we're going to go over 12 brain health tips. We're going to go over 5 steps to look after your brain health and mental health. And I'm also going to introduce you to our free self-care plan that you can fill out. We do get a copy. You get a copy. And it gives you something tangible to share with your family, share at work, share wherever you in the environments that you dwell in, so that people understand what triggers you, people understand what lifts you up, and they have your important contacts and numbers. All too often we assume our children or our loved one has the same likes and dislikes and triggers, but they literally can change throughout the day, let alone day to day. So it's good to have something tangible. And again, one of the main reasons I promote having a self-care plan and sharing it is because one of the things I learned in crisis training is when you know what calms a person down, like a glass of water or even a song, you can just cut that song on or hand them a glass of water and it will help them calm down. So but if a person doesn't know what's in your self-care plan, they can't cut on your favorite song. They can't pull out your favorite book. They can't say a safe word to help you calm down. They can't do that. So please join us for the next training where I'm going to walk you through our self-care plan. It's free. And we're also going to go over ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences, and the ACE score, and how you can take an ACE quiz and see what level of trauma, I would say, what level of support you need to deal with adverse childhood experiences that you may have experienced and how it impacts your overall health. I got 2 more videos I want to share with you guys that I recommend you watch in between our next training, which is the Introduction to ACEs by Nadine Burke. The title of it is How Childhood Trauma Affects Health Across a Lifetime. If you just go on YouTube and type in Nadine, Nadine Burke Harris, she got a couple more, but this one should pop up. How Childhood Trauma Affects Across a Lifetime. This was actually the very first YouTube that I watched or was introduced to at Lakeside's Trauma Informed Care Training. Is so foundational, effective to gaining an understanding of what's going on with trauma and how to treat it. And lastly, Dr. Daniel Amen. I was introduced to Dr. Daniel Amen through while being a student at community college in my case management course as a behavioral health and human services major. And Dr. Daniel Amen has built a medical practice around brain health using SPECT imaging. Hence, you heard me mention that SPECT imaging is the only brain scan that looks at brain function, which includes blood flow and brain activity. CAT scan, PET scans, they do not give you an assessment on brain function, and nor do they assess and treat us around our brain health, which the nervous system clarifies impacts our entire existence, all of our functions and everything that we do. So it doesn't make any sense, and that's by design. We'll be getting into the history of health in America, because health was not built with good intentions, unfortunately. But we're going to take control of the management of our health and the resources to our health, and all glory be to God. We're in position to do that. I'm signing off. My name is Jan Hakeem McKay. This is Philly for Real TV. Thank you for tapping in. If this is the only part you're saying, please log on to Philly4realtv.com. Create a free account. This is a Black and African-owned television network. We're global. We're available on local TVs, and as you already know, through the .com, anywhere you have internet access at. We also have YouTube. Follow us on YouTube at Philly for Real TV. We also have an Instagram. On Instagram, it is at Philly for Real TV Network. And again, my name is CEO Jan Hakeem McKay of Jan Hakeem McKay Investment Groups. Don't forget, we got Jan Burger. Shout out to Jan Burger, one of our proud sponsors. We have $50 meal plans for you. We got $50 meal plans for you. Yeah, we got $50 meal plans for you. $50 to get you 7 meals. You understand? 7 meals. Meals include an entree and a side, and a salad. So please log in. It's all about brain health. It's all about family wealth. Thanks for tapping in. We signing off.